So we are getting closer and closer to October, which is when the NBA season starts again. And at this point, signings are happening every day. But there are some free agents that still didn't get picked up by any teams around the league. So I will show you who the top 5 free agents are out of the handful that are out there. Number 5. Eric Bledsoe. His best seasons were with the Bucks and Suns, but the last team he was on was the Clippers. Bledsoe was a key player for the Bucks for a couple of years. He was good defensively, and at one point he averaged 16 points along with 6 assists. But after he got traded for Jrue Holiday, he was never the same. Not because he was horrible, but instead he went from a 15 point per game player to about 12 in one season. The only thing that is truly putting him in 5th is the fact that in last season he didn't even average 10 points per game, and he didn't really get a lot of minutes compared to his previous teams. And even though he isn't the same anymore, I still think he can be a solid player in many teams around the league, making him 5th on the list. Number 4. DeMarcus Cousins. Now, the last team Boogie played for was the Nuggets, and he has to constantly prove himself to stay in the league for longer than a year. And I'm not exaggerating either, because my guy has moved to 6 different teams after 2020, and the disrespect only continues, as he still didn't get picked up by any team so far. And I understand he isn't the best player after he got injured with the Warriors, but he could still play an important role for many teams around the league. And look at him with the Nuggets. The fans want him back, but I don't think he will ever get to play more than 2 seasons with the team again in his career. Now, if you look at the stats, he wouldn't really be the 4th best player out of the free agents, but if you really watch the games, you can see the impact that he has on each team that he's been on. Number 3. LaMarcus Aldridge. The last team he played for was the Nets, but his case is a little bit different than every other player that we mentioned on the list so far. LaMarcus was introduced to the Nets in 2020. He was introduced to a very powerful net with Blake Griffin, James Harden, KD, Kyrie Irving, but because of a heart condition, he retired. But out of nowhere, he came back and still showed the league he could be a high-level player, since he averaged 13 points along with 5 assists. And I know Marcus ain't a starter, but the 37-year-old can still play and would be a solid player coming off the bench or even starting. So he is truly our 3rd best free agent, even 37 years old. Number 2. Dennis Schroeder. He had his best seasons with the Hawks and the Lakers, but the last team he played for was the Rockets. And I know some people might hate on Schroeder, but the 28-year-old is not bad at all. And I get that he had bad times with the Lakers, but the dude was always solid. I mean, he averaged 15 points per game along with 6 assists. And to be completely honest, I don't think it's fair for him to not have a team yet, considering he also averaged 14 points in the Raptors and Celtics. But he did have a worse season than usual last season, averaging 10 points with the Rockets, but I still think he can be very helpful for the teams, considering he's only 28 and still has a couple of years in front of him, making him the 2nd best free agent on the list. Honorable mentions. Now, I'll quickly run by these, and I'll start by the Laker boys, which are Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and Avery Bradley. We also have Isaiah Thomas that played for the Hornets last season, and Lou Williams that played for the Hawks. But the best free agent out there is number 1, Montrezl Harrell. Now, the last team he played for was the Hornets, and look, I know why he left the Hornets, for off-court issues, but the best free agent is still him, no matter what. I mean, just 2 seasons ago, he was the 6th man of the year with the Clippers, and he averaged 18 points and 7 rebounds coming off the bench. After that, he got moved around quite a bit, going to the Lakers, Raptors, Wizards, and finally Hornets, but he always averaged 14 points per game and 6 rebounds in all the teams. Montrezl, like Dennis Schroeder, I know it's hard to believe, but he is 28, and he has been grinding in the offseason after dropping almost a double-double in the Drew League. And I know it's only the Drew League, but it shows he's trying to get back in the league. And if all of this didn't convince you Montrezl Harrell is the best free agent, tell me who is in the comments. Anyways, this was the video, and I hope you liked it. I'm out.